Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Battle Through the Heavens based on novel. So let's start. The Falling Star Pavilion was undoubtedly at its most secure this year, because today was the day mentioned on the challenge card that came from the Profound River Alliance. The Falling Star Pavilion still did not know why the Profound River Alliance would launch a major campaign, but regardless of what the case was, the Falling Star Pavilion would not reveal any fear in front of others. The news that the experts from the Profound River Alliance would gather at the Falling Star Pavilion had already spread. Hence, many people had hurried to the Falling Star Pavilion during these few days. Everyone understood that the conflicts that had been experienced over these 2 years had caused the Profound River Alliance and the Falling Star Pavilion to truly become enemies. With this sudden situation occurring after both parties had suppressed themselves for such a long time, it would definitely be an extremely spectacular show. Many experts naturally did not want to miss such an interesting situation. The Falling Star Pavilion did not take any actions to expel the people who intended to watch the show after hearing the news. Instead, it had provided the pavilion with a reason to dispatch experts to watch the people. Anyone who acted unusual would be treated like an enemy and killed. As the anticipation of many people grew, the day stated on the challenge card slowly arrived. There was an extremely tall mountain where the main hall of the Falling Star Pavilion was located. The slopes of the mountain were extremely steep and dangerous. It was difficult for an ordinary person to ascend it. Moreover, the peak of the mountain seemed to have been hacked apart by an axe. This area had been turned into an extremely spacious and smooth square. This place was where the Falling Star Pavilion received guests. At this moment, many people stood within this densely packed square. Numerous powerful auras rose and spread across the sky. Everyone could tell that the Falling Star Pavilion had become an extremely dangerous place. Subsequently, the people in the square waited for the experts from the Profound River Alliance to arrive. Xiao Yan stood with his hands behind him at the center of the square. His eyes were calm. Kaylin, the little fairy doctor, Qinglin, and some guest elders of the Falling Star Pavilion stood behind him. This lineup was sufficient to stir the exclamations of some of the surrounding observers. We did not manage to gain much intelligence related to the operations of the Profound River Valley this time around. It is rumored that even some of the elders in the Profound River Alliance do not know why they are attacking this time around. Kaylin suddenly spoke, as she looked in the direction of the entrance to the Star Realm. Xiao Yan slightly nodded. They were too pressed for time. It was indeed a little difficult to obtain top-secret information. The Star Realm has already entered a state of high alert. Some of the weaker disciples have already been relocated, and most of the elders have been summoned back. Kaylin softly reported. Everything is prepared. We are only waiting for the Profound River Alliance to come. Xiao Yan nodded again. He was just about to speak when his eyes hardened. He looked at the entrance to the Star Realm and faintly said, "They are here." The hearts of everyone present tightened after hearing Xiao Yan's words. Their eyes gathered on the entrance of the Star Realm. A big hole was slowly torn at that space. Immediately, a monstrous aura brutally charged into this realm like an evil ferocious beast. A faint laugh that was filled with a dark chill resounded within the Star Realm like rolling thunder. Yao Chen, it has been many years since we last met. How are you? After hearing this thunder-like voice reverberating through the air, one could see a large number of people swarming through the spatial crack. They immediately turned into many rays of light that appeared in the sky above the square within a couple of flashes. While this large group of people rushed into the Star Realm, the Do Chi within the bodies of all the Falling Star Pavilion elders began to quietly circulate. Their eyes were filled with caution. Xiao Yan slowly lifted his head. His eyes looked at the leader's spot of the large group. A dark grey-robed human figure stood in the sky at that spot. This person had long grey hair, and his face did not have many wrinkles. If not for the aged aura that filled his glittering blue eyes, no one would have regarded him as an old demon who had lived for hundreds of years. At a glance, this grey-robed person appeared extremely ordinary. Even the aura within his body was like that of an ordinary person. His entire person appeared unassuming, but everyone understood that a person who could stand there was definitely not a simple character. Old Demon Tian Ming, it is unexpected that you are still alive. Yao Lao's eyes paused on this grey-robed figure as he slowly laughed. Ha ha, even someone like you, who only had a soul left, can be revived. How can the old me die so easily? That grey-robed human figure smiled after hearing this reply. His voice was calm as he spoke. Yao Lao lifted his eyelids. He ignored old demon Tianming and swept his eyes over the large group behind him. It was obvious that the experts from the Profound River Alliance had all come. There were at least 100 people present, and around half of this group possessed the strength of a Dozun. This lineup, along with the Banshing old demon Tianming, could be described as terrifying. This lineup might appear unusually powerful, but it was clearly insufficient if one wished to rely on these people to destroy the Falling Star Pavilion. After these years of development, the number of experts in the Falling Star Pavilion was not less than the amount in the Profound River Alliance. Moreover, Yao Lao was also an elite Banshing like that old demon Tianming. The Falling Star Pavilion and the Profound River Alliance have difficulty coexisting. In the end, the old me must ultimately step forward. Yao Lao, on the account us being acquaintances in the past, as long as your Falling Star Pavilion withdraws 500 kilometers from the territories of the Profound River Alliance and promises not to start any conflict with the Profound River Alliance in the future, our Profound River Alliance will withdraw today. Old Demon Tian Ming's faint voice was transmitted through the air, causing the expressions of many Falling Star Pavilion to change. You must be dreaming. Kalin's replied in an icy-cold voice. Withdrawing 500 kilometers. Wouldn't that mean that the Falling Star Pavilion would shrink by half? Moreover, they must promise not to have any conflict with the Profound River Alliance in the future. Would that not mean that they would have to submit to these people? How would the Falling Star Pavilion continue to survive in the Central Plains if they agreed to these terms? It is obvious that these people are provoking us. The little fairy doctor knit her brows as she spoke. The Profound River Alliance should be clearly aware that it was impossible for them to agree to such terms. Yao Lao's eyes calmly stared at old demon Tian Ming. A moment later, a cold smile appeared on his face. He did not withdraw. The other experts around the surrounding mountains did not dare to display any unusual actions at this moment. From the looks of it, the Profound River Alliance was clearly intending to start a war with the Falling Star Pavilion. Yao Chen, what do you say? Have you made up your mind? Old Demon Tian Ming's rolled his eyes as he asked after waiting for a moment. Yao Lao laughed after hearing these questions. He asked, do you think the Profound River Alliance has the qualification to utter these words, given its strength? In that case, do you mean that you disagree? Old Demon Tian Ming withdrew the cold smile on his face and slowly demanded. Yao Lao smiled and nodded. He suddenly waved his hand at the same time. Bang bang. Many extremely powerful auras suddenly erupted from the surrounding mountains as Yao Lao waved his hand. Wave after wave of Do Chi light pillars spluttered out. They entwined themselves in the sky and finally bloomed. It appeared like a big formation that surrounded old demon Tian Ming's group in the sky. The people on the surrounding mountains were slightly startled when they saw this sudden unexpected change. It seemed that this Falling Star Pavilion had come prepared. The good show today was finally about to start. Yao Chen, it seems that you really won't give in until you are faced with grim reality. Old demon Tian Ming watched the Do Chi light curtain lower from the surrounding sky. A cold smile slowly appeared. After which, his eyes landed on Yao Lao as he said, "Given the strength of my profound river alliance, it is indeed difficult to destroy your falling star pavilion. However, do you think that this elderless elf would be so foolish to deliver myself to your hands without absolute confidence?" Yao Lao's group frowned after hearing this question. "Two misters, please show yourselves." Old demon Tian Ming laughed in a strange fashion. Following which, he let out a loud cry. The space beside old demon Tian Ming suddenly began to wiggle in front of everyone's eyes after his words sounded. A spatial crack was formed and two clusters of dark monstrous auras swiftly flew out of this crack in space like floodwater. Yao Lao's expression slowly sank as he sensed these two familiar auras. His eyes stared intently at the crack in space as he spit out in a gloomy voice, "Hall of Souls. You people have indeed intervened. Yao Chen, I said before that your falling star pavilion will be turned into ruins sooner or later. However, you should also be glad that this has been delayed by 2 years." A churning black fog surged out of the crack in space, and two figures slowly appeared in front of many pairs of eyes. At the same time, a dark and cold laugh also sounded. "Guu." A dense expression flashed across Yao Lao's eyes after hearing this strange laughter. A black fog churned in the sky before slowly scattering. Two figures appeared in front of everyone's eyes. The first was a skeleton-like old man, who was surprisingly the second Tianzuan of the Hall of Souls, Guu, whom they had met in the ancient wasteland region. Another figure stood behind him. Although the aura of this person was not as strong, this person also possessed the strength of a Ban Xing, but it was that of an initial level Ban Xing. 2 Ban Xings. If one included old demon Tian Ming, there was a total of 3 of them. This lineup immediately caused many to gently inhale a breath of cool air. The faces of some elders from the Falling Star Pavilion began to turn pale. "Yao Chen, do you need to reconsider the conditions that I offered earlier?" A strange smile surfaced on old demon Tian Ming's face as he asked in a sinister manner. Yao Lao's expression was gloomy. He slowly clenched his hand under his sleeve. "Yao Lao, it is pointless to admit defeat. Given the Hall of Souls and Profound River Alliance's methods, it is impossible for them to continue to allow us to survive." Kaylin's face was icy cold. A chilly glint flickered within her pretty eyes. "Now, we have no other choice but to fight them to death." The surrounding Falling Star Pavilion's experts looked at Yao Lao and waited for his decision. Yao Lao gently exhaled. A moment later, he nodded. He also understood this reasoning. "Since this is the case, let's fight with them." A ferocious expression surfaced on Yao Lao's face after he uttered those last few words. Old demon Tian Ming was monitoring Yao Lao's expression. After seeing a ruthlessness surface on Yao Lao's face, he understood that the Falling Star Pavilion would not submit. The dense smile on his face quickly intensified as he said, "It seems that this Falling Star Pavilion will not be able to avoid bloodshed today. It's just as well. There are many experts present. We will be able to collect some souls at the same time." Guu laughed in a strange fashion. His tone clearly indicated that he thought little of the Falling Star Pavilion. They had 2 high-level Ban Xings on their side and 1 initial-level Ban Xing. This strength was clearly not something the Falling Star Pavilion could compare with. Today, they had arrived with the intention of killing. The Falling Star Pavilion would definitely be eliminated from the Central Plains forever. Yao Lao's expression was gloomy as he stared at Guu's group. He spoke in a deep voice, "Leave Guu and old demon Tian Ming for me to deal with. Cai Lin, Qing Lin, the little fairy doctor, the three of you will block that other initial level Ban Xing. The Ban Xing class was divided into the initial, intermediate, and high level. Each sub-level possessed a great gap between them. The initial Ban Xing class expert from the Hall of Souls should have just reached that level. He had yet to fully gain control his strength. Even though Cai Lin and the other two would find it difficult to defeat him, it was still possible to delay him a little. Yao Lao. The expressions of Cai Lin's group changed when they heard that Yao Lao was planning to fight two people by himself. Although Yao Lao was a high-level Ban Xing, neither old demon Tian Ming nor Ji Yu was weaker than him. Yao Lao would be at a disadvantage if those two were to join hands. Yao Lao waved his hand. He was clearly aware of the risk, but he did not have any other choices right now. An elite Ban Xing was an extremely great pressure in this kind of fight. If these two Ban Xings from the Hall of Souls were allowed to attack the other experts from the Falling Star Pavilion, it would undoubtedly be a one-sided massacre. If a massacre occurred, the Falling Star Pavilion would completely collapse. Hence, he needed to fight the other party's Ban Xing at any cost. Let's just do it this way. All of you should be careful. Yao Lao did not say anything more after that. His body moved. He appeared a short distance in front of old demon Tianming and Ji Yu. Monstrous Dou Qi spread out of his body and locked onto those two. Yao Chen, you are really arrogant to think that you can block the both of us by yourself. Old demon Tianming and Ji Yu immediately laughed, after sensing that they had been locked onto by Yao Lao's aura. Yao Lao ignored their ridicule. His expression was dark and gloomy as a terrifying and pressurizing Dou Qi lingered around his body. This Dou Qi caused space itself to continuously distort. Attack. Don't kill those who surrender. Kill all those who stubbornly resist. Old demon Tianming coldly laughed as he sensed the pressure from Yao Lao. He stepped forward and a sudden cold cry, which was filled with murderous intent, rang out. Understood. Hearing this cold cry from old demon Tianming, the many experts from the Profound River Alliance immediately revealed their murderous desires. Many majestic Dou Qis erupted from all directions. At the same time, many experts on the Falling Star Pavilion's side began to circulate their Dou Qi. Their expressions were unfriendly as they stared at those from the Profound River Alliance. Charge! This face-off continued for a moment before a ferocious cry suddenly sounded. The many experts from the Profound River Alliance flashed and turned into many rays of light that charged toward the square with lightning-like speed. The experts from the Falling Star Pavilion were unwilling to stay behind as they also charged forward. They clashed with the experts from the Profound River Alliance in the air, and an earth-shaking explosion erupted across the star realm. The surrounding individuals hurriedly withdrew into the distance as they watched this big war swiftly erupt. They were afraid of being implicated. He, brother Ji Yu, let's also act to finish off this old fellow Yao Chen. Old demon Tianming loudly laughed after watching the big battle erupt in an instant. Ji Yu nodded in a dark manner upon hearing Tianming's words. He had been planning to flatten the Falling Star Pavilion 2 years ago, but due to some schemes in the clan, he had no choice but to put the matters aside. Now that some of those schemes had progressed, he was finally able to find an opportunity to inform the clan and lead 3rd Tianzuan, who had only just broken through, to find old demon Tianming. Ji Yu promised to help Tianming eliminate the Falling Star Pavilion. The Profound River Alliance, which had been fighting with the Falling Star Pavilion for 2 years, was extremely happy upon hearing that a super faction like the Hall of Souls was willing to aid them. They immediately gathered their forces and subsequently caused this scene today. Ha ha, it has been many years since I have fought. Even my bones are a little rusty. However, being able to use a high-level ban Xing as a congratulatory gift for the exit of my retreat makes it really worthwhile. Old demon Tian Ming laughed in a strange fashion. His foot suddenly stepped through the air as a monstrous dou qi swept out. His body flashed and appeared in front of Yao Lao. His white hand was like an eagle claw, as it penetrated empty space and grabbed at Yao Lao's throat. Humph! Yao Lao let out a cold snort when he sensed old demon Tian Ming's swift and ruthless attack. He did not dodge the attack. Instead, his fist, which contained a frightening force, mercilessly attacked old demon Tian Ming's head. From the looks of it, he was planning to exchange one life for another. My life is much more valuable than yours. Old demon Tian Ming's expression changed when he saw this attack, causing him to coldly laugh. They completely had the upper hand. It was naturally impossible for him to engage in an all-out fight with others. He quickly withdrew his claw and pulled back with lightning-like speed, dodging Yao Lao's punch in the process. Yao Lao was about to give chase after his punch missed when a black fog suddenly pounced over. A miserable screech was emitted from the black fog. A black chain broke through the fog and cut the surrounding space, forming many black crack lines. Get lost. Yao Lao's expression was dark and cold. His large hand grabbed at the empty space in front of him. The space itself abruptly stilled, repelling those black chains. At the same time, his body flashed and he charged into the black fog. His fist furiously smashed toward a certain spot in the black fog. Bang! A muffled sound was immediately emitted as his punch landed. Soon after, the body of Ji Yu stumbled and shot out of the black fog. Although the three of them were all high-level Ban Xing, Yao Lao possessed an advantage that an ordinary Ban Xing did not possess, since his spiritual strength far exceeded theirs. The benefits of one's spiritual strength, when fighting against those of the same level, would enable one to gain an advantage. Attack together. Surprise flashed across old demon Tian Ming's eyes when he saw Ji Yu was forced back by Yao Lao. He immediately cried out in a deep voice. Ji Yu's expression was dark as he nodded. The two of them shot out at the same time. Monstrous dou qi appeared like a ferocious dragon sweeping over the sky as they rushed toward Yao Lao. The large space collapsed during this frightening exchange. While Yao Lao was holding off old demon Tian Ming and Ji Yu, the third Tianzuan from the Hall of Souls had looked at the chaotic battles below. He was about to intervene when a seven-colored lightning suddenly struck from the sky. Humph! This sudden attack caused the eyes of the third Tianzuan to turn cold. He waved his sleeve and forcefully shattered that thunderbolt. His eyes followed the attack back to its point of origin, where he saw a 10,000-foot-long seven-colored python. It lingered in the air as a strange pressure quietly descended. Seven-colored heaven-swallowing python. A surprised expression flashed across the third Tianzuan's eyes after he saw this large python. He was just about to attack, when a 10-foot-wide grayish-brown pillar explosively shot over. The scent of the lethal poison in that pillar caused him to frown. He clenched his hand and space itself was solidifying the dou qi pillar at the same time. He immediately flicked his finger and shattered it. Hiss! Soon after shattering the dou qi pillar that contained a lethal poison, a mysterious voice was suddenly transmitted from in front of him. The third Tianzuan's eyes swept over. His eyes immediately hardened when he saw a green-clothed lady floating in the air. A 10,000-foot large, 9-headed snake illusory figure was vaguely visible. Ancient Heaven Serpent. Seeing that enormous snake-shaped illusory figure, a solemn expression finally surged onto third Tianzuan's face. Although these three women were all peak dozuns, one of them was a seven-colored heaven-swallowing python, another possessed a lethal dou qi filled with poison that even gave him a sense of danger, and the last had the ancient Heaven Serpent. This combination caused even him to feel some pressure since he had just broken through to the Ban Xing class. The third Tianzuan's eyes quickly turned icy-cold as a glint flashed in them. Regardless of how long it had been since he had broken through to the Ban Xing class, he was still a genuine Ban Xing. Even though these three women possessed extraordinary abilities, it was impossible for them to truly fight against him. Today, the Falling Star Pavilion will definitely be exterminated. The third Tianzuan coldly laughed. His body flashed, and he appeared in front of Qing Lin in a ghost-like fashion. Frightening Dou Qi gathered into a layer of unusual crystals. After which, a palm was slammed toward Qing Lin. Qing Lin was startled as she sensed the speed of the third Tianzuan that caught her off guard. Light flickered in her eyes as a figure appeared in front of her. Bang! The third Tianzuan's hand slammed down and crushed the expert Dou Zun under Qing Lin's control into a pile of mincemeat. She has the legendary triple jade green snake flower pupils. No wonder she is able to control the ancient heaven serpent's soul. The third Tianzuan was a person with vast experience. He managed to identify Qing Lin's secret at a glance. He was about to attack once again when a seven-colored thunderbolt once again struck, and the little fairy doctor, whose black hair had turned white, rushed over from behind. Her ferocious attack targeted the third Tianzuan. The third Tianzuan coldly laughed after sensing that he had been surrounded. The Dou Qi within his body erupted like a volcano and swept apart in front of many shocked eyes. While an incomparably intense battle had erupted within the Star Realm, the mountain at the back remained as quiet as ever. The huge rock door stood quietly. Crack! This silence continued for a while before many tiny crack lines began to spread over the mountain around the rock door. These cracks might have been tiny, but they were extremely deep. It was as though they had spread from the center of the mountain. Following the appearance of these crack lines, there seemed to be something slowly awakening deep within the mountain. Part 1 end here.